Hey guys, we're getting right into the video. This is part 2 on how to make this the best year for you soccer-wise, how to make 2017 a great year for your soccer career. Let's get right into the material. If you haven't watched part 1, it's in the description. I highly recommend watching that first. Here's the rest of the video.
Okay guys, moving right along, we're on to scheduling. Now this is going to be very important. You need to be scheduling things ahead of time, and I'm going to tell you why in a little bit. Now this is going to make a huge difference, especially when it comes to following through on things. It's very hard to, like we already previously went over, to just think of something and say, okay, I'll do this at certain time. And I know you feel confident that you're going to remember in the moment. You're like, of course I'll remember to go do this and that. But how many of you can think back to a time you're like, oh, I'll just remember this. I have to go do this time, and then you've forgotten. Probably all of you at some point have done that. And when you have a lot more on your plate, and especially as you get a lot better at planning things and creating goals, you're going to have a lot more on your plate and a lot more that you would have to potentially remember. Well, let's make this whole process easy on ourselves and schedule things instead. Then we don't have to have things on our mind at all times. We just go, okay, what's on my calendar today? Or what do I have scheduled? And then you can see what you need to be doing. You don't need to just be remembering it, which most likely causes you to forget what you were going to do anyway. So have a project plan for big goals, and I'll describe this as well. And scheduling really is required if you want to get to the next level. If you're not scheduling things right now and you're trying to accomplish things, you're going to make it, you're basically trying to play success on hard mode when you really don't need to. It's going to be very difficult. And I remember listening to someone saying that, there are a lot of people who can be very productive when they just try and remember things. But then he also said, but imagine how much more productive they would be if they actually took the time to schedule things. And that's just true for everyone. If you took the time to schedule out everything you needed to do, every, step you need to take, every big project plan you had, you would be infinitely more successful, exponentially more successful than you are now. And if you are not seeing any results right now, this is something that if you can get this right away, you'll start going from almost no progress to an amazing amount of progress in a very short amount of time. So you need to start getting this right, okay? So I use a calendar. Personally, I use Google Calendar just because it's easy. I can put it on my phone as well, and they sync together. That way I can always, whenever I need to, I can just check and be like, okay, what do I have going on this week? I have this, and this. Okay, so when I'm doing like my reflection period, which we'll be going over, I do that every Sunday. We'll be going over a little later in this video. I look at my Google Calendar and go, what goals do I have due? What dates have I set for wanting certain things done? And then when I see those dates, I can be like, okay, well, in order to do that, I need to do this on this day. Maybe I should do it for an hour on this day, whatever it is. Okay, so having a project plan, what this means is you're going to literally have a step-by-step plan that leads you towards a big goal. And what you're also going to do is work backwards. So let's say, for example, and I think I explained this kind of with progressive goal setting, but let's say, for example, you have something that you want accomplished 3 months from now. And this is going to be a little bit different than the progressive goal planning. This is something a little bit different. But let's say you have something you want done in 3 months. And let's just say it's like something like I want to gain, 5 pounds of muscle in that amount of time. I don't even know if that's feasible, but it probably is. But let's say that's a goal. So let's say you want to go, let's say you want to go from like 160 to 165, but in a healthy way in 3 months. Okay, so you go in your calendar and you set the date that you want to weigh yourself again or get it checked. I think you can get actual tests that tell you what percentage of your body is fat, muscle, and all that. So let's say you get yourself tested on a certain day, and then 3 months from that date, you want to have put on 5 pounds of muscle. Okay, so you set the date in your calendar. Then you're going to schedule at least 5 more things from that point backwards that you're going to hit, okay? That you're going to schedule into your calendar. So for example, let's say 3 months from now you want to put on 5 pounds or more of muscle. You're going to reverse engineer it. So you have the 3 months, and then you're going to use those 3 months and schedule everything in there. So let's say after a month you want to have hit at least 2 pounds of muscle. then put in more steps, and then after 2 months, you want to be at 4 pounds, and then that final month, you want to hit that fifth. That's not 5 things, but so let's say, for example, the first month, you have scheduled 15 days into this goal that you want to increase the amount of food you want to eat, for example. So let's say 15 days, and you have this scheduled in your calendar. You say, okay, 15 days into this goal or this challenge, I want to readjust my eating schedule. So right now, let me just focus on eating a certain amount, eating well, and then I want to reassess that 15 days in and reschedule that or redo that, do what I eat, my eating schedule, my eating plan, and make it more tuned to what I'm trying to accomplish. So maybe you adjust it. And then 15 more days later or a month later, you want to do it again. So you're going to put all of this in your calendar. Now, this is a project plan, right? Because you have set basically sub goals for your bigger goal, right? Because like we said in the progressive goal planning, you do not want to just set a big goal and then be like, okay, well, that's my goal. I'm just going to do it. That doesn't work. It never works. Because if you just went, okay, 3 months from now, I want to have gained 5 pounds of muscle or whatever it is you're trying to accomplish. If you just put that 3 months from now and then just write it down and then just, that's it. You have no plan to get there. You're most likely going to fail. But if you create a project plan that has steps and has micro goals that you're working towards, so you're hitting these small goals that are leading up to this big goal. Does that make sense? So, for example, every 15 days, if you're like, okay, I'm going to adjust and reassess my eating plan and make sure I'm getting enough food and make sure I'm getting enough protein to be building the amount of muscle I want. I'm going to make sure I schedule in times when I'm going to reassess my workout plans to make sure I'm increasing weight if you're doing weight training or you're doing other things to make sure that you're going to hit that bigger goal. This is going to organize everything. It's going to show you a clear path to that big goal. Okay, so that's what I mean by project plans. It's very similar to what we were talking about with progressive goal planning. Okay, so use a calendar. I use Google Calendar. Now you can just use a handwritten calendar if you want. That's, it doesn't matter how you use it, but you really should use a calendar. I highly recommend it. And again, you want to be doing a calendar on a daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly basis. Okay, so. And then work backwards, like we said. So if you have a yearly goal, and you're thinking of it right now, put that in your calendar on the date you want to accomplish it. And again, work backwards with at least 5 sub-goals that you're going to hit that are going to lead to that one goal. Then do it on a monthly basis and a weekly and a daily. So you really want to fill the hell out of your calendar. You really want to fill it up, okay? And here's just a little note before you think this is like, well, what if something changes and all this? That's fine. Make sure your calendar is going to be very malleable, okay? It's going to be very flexible. Just because you've filled something out doesn't mean that if something else comes up, you can't readjust it, okay? You can't adjust it. You can, okay? And I do this all the time with either daily goals or weekly goals or monthly goals. Maybe something I'll set weekly goals, and then something else will come up that is a huge priority, and I have to put it in place of a different goal I had. That's fine. Things like that happen. Nothing. Life. That's what happens in life. It's always changing. You might have a yearly goal, and have actually accomplished it within 4 months. Or you might have a yearly goal and something happens and you have to change that goal. This happens. That's the thing of life, but there's no harm in having it planned just in case there is smooth sailing, okay? And by having it planned, you're going to move closer towards that goal, and you may accomplish it early. You actually probably will accomplish a lot. When you start doing this, you'll probably start accomplishing a lot of your goals early because you're now going to be organized and scheduled and have a plan. And that's going to allow you to find more time to do things by being more organized, and you'll have more steps. And if you are, working hard and a good amount, you'll be getting some of these goals done a lot earlier than you expect, okay? So really fill out that calendar on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis. Again, remember, it's flexible, so don't be afraid to put things in there. If you're thinking, well, I don't know if I'll be doing this a year from now, put it in there anyway. And if something changes, you can just go back and change it. That's fine. But for now, put it in there anyway if it is a goal you have. And this is a problem I used to have. I used to not put things like a year from now simply because I thought, well, what if something changes? Okay, so we're moving on right to the next one. And this one is a very, very important one called reflection. Now, you all probably know what that means, but let me explain what I want you to do with this. Okay, so this could become one of the most useful habits you create in your life, period. Okay, this idea of reflection. Because, again, one of the reasons we have project plans towards your goals or things like that is because you need to be constantly assessing where you are with your goal. Again, if you just put it out there in the ether and just be like, 3 months from now, I'm going to accomplish this, and you have no direct path to it, or you don't even have some plan, you're not going to really accomplish it. And this is why reflection is very important, because reflection allows you to know where you currently stand with a habit, with a goal, or where you currently stand in life, okay? So, again, it can literally change your life, yes? So pick a day once a week to reflect upon your habits and goals. I personally do it on Sunday just because that's easy for me. I consider that like the end of the week, and I like to do it on Sundays. You don't have to choose Sundays. You could do Wednesdays. I don't know. You can do whatever day works for you, but keep it the same day every week. So you're going to pick one day. You're going to reflect upon your habits and goals on this day. I'm going to show you, and I'm going to tell you exactly how you're going to do this, okay? And guys, this is super important. Like, this is one of the most important. Like, you can, all this other stuff I've been going over about how to set the goals, having big goals, about scheduling, really falls apart if you don't do this reflection thing, okay? Because your goals will just kind of just be thrown into the abyss. There will be no progress recorded. You won't see your progress, which will cause you to probably give up. So you really need this reflection period. So you need to evaluate your habits and ask yourself, how did they impact my week? And same with your goals. So I'll probably have that in there as well. Yeah, your goals as well. So evaluate your habits and ask, how did they impact my week? And this is really important, because if you have a habit that you're doing, like let's say, for example, and let's say it's not soccer related and you want to meditate or you want to do yoga, which actually both can actually have some good impact with your soccer. But let's say those are the habits. If you go for a week and you're not really seeing results, you might give it up. That's why you need to reflect, right? Because if you just meditate without reflecting, or if you just do yoga without reflecting, and let's say it's your first time doing it, you're going to be looking for, why am I doing this throughout that whole time you're practicing this? You're going to be thinking to yourself, okay, so why am I doing yoga again? Why am I doing meditation? What is it exactly doing? Because these aren't things that really produce tangible, or just like results in the way you're used to. They're more mental. So, but by having a reflection period, you can go, okay, well, between day 1 and 7 of meditation, I've actually felt a lot calmer. I've felt a lot more in the moment, or something like this. And with the yoga, you could be like, okay, I've actually noticed that after each yoga session, I feel really good. I have this clarity. My body feels good. It feels loose. It feels more flexible. I just feel happier. You see, now, if you didn't do that reflection period, you may attribute that feeling to something else, which would cause you to think, oh, well, yoga and meditation's not doing much for me, which would cause you to probably give them both up, or whatever, other thing you're not reflecting upon. And then once you start to lose those benefits, you'll be like, oh, what happened? Then you'll get to a point like this used to happen to me all the time, like a month would go by and be like, why did I stop meditation? Why did I stop yoga? It's because I wasn't reflecting upon the results I was getting. I wasn't doing the things that were causing me to see how valuable these practices were. A lot of my habits that I wanted to create in the past, I did this for. Like, I used to read every day back in the past. I still do that now, but I used to do it, and then I'd last like 20, 25 days and then stop. And then a lot of the benefits I was seeing from that would go away, and I'd go, wait, why didn't I see that this was such a valuable thing? The reason was because I wasn't reflecting upon it. I wasn't reflecting upon it, which means I wasn't consciously seeing the results. I wasn't consciously seeing the impact it was having on my life each week, which caused me to give them up subconsciously. Remember, when you're developing habits, it's difficult. You have to keep yourself conscious about them. You have to keep thinking about how they're impacting you, and you have to keep assessing them. And this is also a good way to figure out habits that really don't serve you, because you can only do so much in a day. So this is also a good way. Maybe you start a certain habit, a certain diet, and you come to the conclusion after a month that actually this isn't really fitting me right. This isn't working for my body. Okay? So I'm sure a lot of this is going to be repeated. Yeah, and when you do this, you really need to think about this. This is not like some 5-minute practice you're going to do once a week. Remember, you're only doing this once a week. It's not that much. So I want you to do it for at least 20 to 30 minutes. Okay? And this is also said by Brendan Butchard. I think I'm butchering your name there, but Brandon Butchard, where I got this idea because I noticed I was reflecting every Sunday, but I didn't really realize it. But he recommends you do it for 20 to 30 minutes or more, I would say. So what I mean is really think about this, and how you do this is you need to be asking yourself the right questions. So for example, questions like, how did this week go? And then think about it, really think about it. Don't just go, oh yeah, it was pretty good. It's pretty good. Really think about it. How did this week go? Don't just say really good. Well, then ask, okay, it went well. So what worked and what didn't work? How can I do better next week? How can I have more of an impact next week? How can I benefit myself more next week? How can I improve upon what I've already accomplished this week, right? Ask yourself these questions and really think about it. So how did this week go? Really think back through your week and go, okay, it went well in this area, could be better in this area, and I really need to work on this area, right? And really list that out. Because the more aware of remember, in so many of my videos, I mentioned awareness is key to improvement and growth. This is why we're doing this. We're becoming aware of what's working, what's not working. We're becoming aware of what's really helping us and what's not helping us. We're becoming aware of what we need to spend more time on and less time on, and things like this. And these kind of questions, this kind of awareness is going to help you through this reflection process. And guys, again, this can be so helpful because you're going to figure out where exactly you are in life every single week. And remember how I told you how you should be setting goals? You need to know where you are now and where you want to go. Well, with this practice, you will always be aware of where you are now, which means you can keep setting bigger and bigger and bigger goals. And it also works with progressive goal planning. Do you know why? Because as you start accomplishing these bigger and bigger and bigger goals, you will continue to reflect and then continue to build even bigger goals, because now you'll have been at the place, now you're at the level where your initial big goals are. You're reflecting and you're like, oh, look, I've accomplished these goals. Time to set more. Right? And you just keep building and building until you're at this point where you're living this amazing life of things that you want, that you're playing soccer at such a high level, that you're on the team you want. And this can happen really quickly, guys, if you get all this together. And again, you're not going to be perfect with this. I'm not perfect with this. I'm still learning this very much as well. This is still stuff I need to work on. But I'm giving you the information because this stuff does work. And this, again, I want to put the emphasis on this reflection practice as it's just so important. Okay, so next is you need to have world-class routines and habits. And again, this whole video is on creating goals, creating habits and routines that are going to serve you. These things are all related, guys. It's very hard to be successful without good goals. It's very hard to get to those goals without good routines and habits. What you do on a daily basis is really going to determine the rest of your life. It's so simple, yet it's not easy. It's simple, but it's not easy. Okay? No one said it would be easy, but it can be very simple. Incremental integrity, and what that means is the incremental things you do, those little things you do essentially every single day, are going to lead to those bigger things that you want to accomplish. That consistency of doing them, right? That's why we were doing ball control challenges. That's why we're about to do other challenges, right? We do those because by doing ball control challenge every single day for maybe 20 minutes or so, you build up this momentum. And it creates a habit. It also starts creating routines. It starts creating consistency in your life that builds up to that bigger thing. Okay? So let's get into this. Your one-page plan is going to help you with this because your one-page plan is going to keep you aware of what you want your goals, what your goals are, which means you're going to be developing habits around those. It's making you aware of what you want your thinking to be, because we wanted you to have soccer philosophies like I want to work hard, I don't want to give up, and having those actual mental habits or those goals as far as what your beliefs you want to have, that's also a habit you want to have as well. You want to have the habit of actually following through with those that kind of mental self-talk you want. So working hard, being consistent, all these other things, okay? So your one-page plan is definitely a good way to start because we want you to look at this every morning. And I'm not saying you need to look at your one-page plan every morning and, thoroughly go through it every morning. Just read it over every morning because that's going to help keep you aware of what it is you're trying to accomplish this year. And that's going to be super important. And remember, you can adjust your one-page plan as you start accomplishing things, but you want to keep it relatively similar. Okay, so you'll need world-class routines and habits to succeed. every single successful person, every single top level professional soccer player, every good, even D1 college player, for the most part, have world-class routines and habits to succeed. Now, a lot of them have help getting those. Of course, when you're at a D1 college, or any college really, or you're at a professional club, they have people who are creating exercise routines for you. They have coaches coaching you. But that does not mean you can't do it yourself. It's going to require more discipline, and in fact, you'll probably grow more through disciplining yourself. And if you ever get to a level where you're playing in college or you're playing professional, you're going to be ahead of the game. You're going to be having, because even at that level, you still get rebellious players who don't listen to coaches, who waste their talents, and I'm sure you can think of many. But developing things like this are going to assure that you are someone who's going to be disciplined, and really give yourself the best chance of success. But you do need these routines, and you do need habits to succeed. Okay, so here's a really important aspect to this, is you need to only establish habits that have a knowable outcome. So what's this mean? You need something you can measure. Something you can measure intellectually. Now, why do I say this? I was mentioning it with meditation and yoga in the last module, which was, what were we doing, scheduling? Or whatever we were going over. And what I said was, reflection. That was it. And the reason, one great reason for reflection is you can measure things. You can measure how much something has helped you throughout the week, right? You can go, okay, this is where I was with this habit, and now this is where I am with this habit. And how can I measure this to see if it's helping me progress? So you need something you can measure. Now, you can do this in many ways. You can do it numerically. So you can do it in a way where you're like, okay, I was a 4 out of 10 for this, and now I'm a 6, right? And it's helped me improve this area, and this area. Making it very obvious, what this is helping in your life. But you need to have an intellectual thing that you can measure with each habit. Because if you don't, you're going to give it up. Because subconsciously, your brain is going to go, you know what? I'm not used to this. This is not a habit. I don't feel comfortable doing this, and I don't see any results. Because you don't have any measured results, you know what? I'm just going to give it up. We can skip it today. We don't have to do it this week. We'll do it next week. You'll start rationalizing to the point where you're not doing it at all. But if you can convince your brain that there's results in a measurable way, if you go, wait a second now, brain. I've actually measured this out, and these are some very serious results we're getting from this in a positive way. Then you can't really rationalize. Then you can't go, oh, well, yeah, but who wants a good life anyway? That's not going to happen. Your brain's not going to do that. Then you go, oh, okay, yeah, actually, now that I look at this, now that I've measured this, this is having a huge impact in my life. In fact, it might be one of the best. So that's why you need something that you can intellectually measure. So you need to find a way to do that for every single habit. Okay, that it's improving a certain area of your soccer game. And guys, by now you've realized this is not just for soccer, this is also for life, but that can measure, something about your game and how that's improving your game, like a certain habit, or your life, okay? So you need to know if a habit is progressing your life. And you need to know, since we're talking about soccer here, if a habit is progressing your game, right? So the 30-day ball control challenge, for example, I told you all to record, how well you did each drill in the beginning, and I hope you did, because by the end of the 30 days, you should see massive improvements. That's a way of measuring it. That's a way of seeing progress, because now you go, oh man, that was tough to stick with all those 30 days of ball control. I hope it was worth it. Let me see how much better I got. And then you see you've gotten better, and you go, aha, now I notice progressing my game. This is something that's actually making me a better player. Because in the end, that's what the practices we want, right? And if you see that a practice is making you a better player, what are you going to do? You're going to keep doing it. That's what we want. That's what we want, man. You want to keep doing it if it's progressing yourself, if it's progressing your life, okay? So if you can't intellectually see this, again, you'll quit. If you can't intellectually, and again, I'm saying intellectually deliberately, I'm not saying emotionally, or spiritually or anything like that. I'm saying intellectually, analytically. If you can't see it in that manner, you're going to quit. So you need to measure things, right? I'm about to do a few other challenges, and the reason I like to mark them down every day, whether I did them or not, is because I like to see how consistent I am with them, because that's going to determine my results. But I also record in the beginning how good I was at it. Sometimes I'll record how well I'm doing it on the first day, then 15 days in, which is halfway, and then 30. And if I see obvious results and there was nothing that was screwing up the results, like I missed days, or I didn't do it, which would screw up the results, then I go, okay, if this is helping me improve, I'm going to continue to do this, right? So you need to intellectually be able to see if something's progressing in your life, or you'll quit. Now, if you don't have progress points, you'll give up a habit. And this is essentially the same thing. Develop progress points that you'll measure. Okay? So basically what a progress point is, exactly what we're going over. So for a 30-day challenge, for example, have a progress point at 15 days. Okay? So let's say on the first day, you go, okay, I can juggle this much, I can do this, I can do that, and I can do that. You have a certain amount of things, and you're recording how many times you can do them or how well you can do them. Okay? With the ball control challenge, I told you, okay, how many bad touches for this drill did you do, this drill, and this drill? Okay? So that's what we wanted there. And once you had that measured, you can now see how much has improved you 30 days from now. Okay, so have those progress points in place. And then measure them, because without this, you'll give up habits that could potentially change your life, help you in such a way that if you had kept with it, you would be in a completely different place than where you are now. And I think that's really important to be aware of, so that when you guys, because a lot of you who are not used to developing habits deliberately, most of you have probably developed habits subconsciously without your knowledge, because we all have habits, good or bad. Usually when you don't develop them in a way that's conscious, they don't usually necessarily turn out the best because you don't have control over them. But now you have conscious control over what your habits can be. You got to be consistent with it. You need progress points. You need to be convincing yourself that it is helping you, or else you're really not going to develop the habits you want. If you want to practice every day, I could intellectually tell you that yes, that's going to help you, and I have told you guys that many times, but you're not going to truly believe it subconsciously. And as we're talking about your subconscious here, guys, which is very powerful. It's the thing that really operates most of the time in your head. Okay? Consciously you can bring your attention to something, but it's not that easy. Sometimes your subconscious will just, whenever you find yourself zoning out, it's usually your subconscious at work. Okay? So we need to get it to a point where the habit you want to be a habit becomes subconscious, and it's basically working in the background. That's what we want. So we need you to be aware of the progress you're making. You need to be conscious of it. That's why we have the reflection period every week, because by having a reflection period every week and going over each one of your habits and how it's actually helping you progress, or asking yourself, is this helping me progress, and then measuring it, eventually you do that so many times and your brain finally gets the message, and it's like, okay, this is something, yes, this is helping us. This is helping us. Every week we're going over, it's helping us. It becomes a subconscious thing where you're like, oh yeah, I know this helps me. You don't have to keep thinking about it. Okay? So, and you'll check in with these. Again, during the reflection period, you will keep checking in with your progress points. So actually, if you're going to do the reflection period, you don't even need a 15-day check-in point for like a 30-day challenge. You can just do it during the reflection period. So that would be every 7 days. And I find this is a good thing to do, because again, like we went over in the goals, in the progressive goal setting, you're going to have weekly goals. That's why I like having also a weekly reflection period, because then you can go, okay, how well did I do with my specific weekly goals? Okay? So let's move on. This is why 30-day challenges I think are great. They have progress points. 30 days really isn't that much, guys. It's a month. But it's a good way to measure something. It's a good way to kind of test out a habit. It's a good way to see, okay, maybe I want this. And 30 days, I think they say 21 days is the minimum amount of days you need to develop a habit. Some people say it's more. Some people say it's way more. But by 30 days, what I've noticed, that if I'm doing something every single day, it is starting to become something that I don't even have to think about. Now you can fall off that pretty quickly, but I love 30-day challenges because they really give you a taste of the habit, and they can really be measured. 30-day challenges. So this is why I'm encouraging you guys to do them. That's why we're starting to do them on the channel every month. Okay, so you'll start seeing results with 30-day challenges. On to the next thing. So this is another really important one, guys. We're going over a lot of cool information. And again, a lot of these methods and strategies I'm giving to you, I'm bringing to you through other people. These are things I've learned through other people, from very successful people. And this next one I'm going to be teaching you is something that I've learned from almost every successful person that I've ever studied, from many books I've read, from people online I follow. Almost all of them unanimously say that this is like one of their secret success tools. This is something they do either consciously or subconsciously that allows to bring them success. And it's going to sound really silly, and you might not believe it, but all I can say is that so many successful people say that they do this that I doubt that it's untrue. And I really truly believe this is something that can, again, if done on a consistent basis, can change your life, can change your soccer game, can change how good of a player you are. Okay, so what is it? Okay, so first off, this is not it, but first off, let's make sure we understand that your beliefs are truly what will determine if you succeed or not. Your beliefs in who you are, your beliefs in how much you can accomplish. For example, if you believe you're a truly terrible soccer player, guess what? You'll never become a good soccer player. Now, if you do believe that, don't worry, you can change your beliefs, but you need to start believing something different. Because if you think you're a bad soccer player, do you think you're going to be motivated to get better? No, you'll just go, well, of course I'm doing poorly. I'm a bad soccer player. So, but it's a completely different, and I'm going to make a video on this. I've been thinking about doing it. It's completely different than someone who goes, I'm an amazing soccer player. I'm an amazing soccer player who is continuing to learn, who is a hardworking player, who is committed to getting better. You can already tell that the two different, there's a huge difference in those two mindsets. And you probably could guess which player is going to be most successful out of those two, right? So your beliefs are truly what determine if you succeed or not. And this is actually a quote by Theodore Roosevelt that I really like. It's believe that you can and you're already halfway there. Believe that you can and you're already halfway there. And there's another one by Confucius, and I think it is the person who says that he can and the person who says that they can't are both usually right. And what this means is if you believe in something, that's what you're going to bring about in your life. So the person who believes that they can is probably right. But the person who believes that they can't is also probably right because that's their belief system. So guys, create beliefs that serve you. There's no point creating beliefs that do not serve you. And most people create beliefs that don't serve them. If you want to become a better player, you need to start creating beliefs that are truly going to make you a better player. If you have beliefs that are bringing you down and are causing you to not grow, you're not going to improve as a player. So create beliefs that serve you, okay? And then we already went over this, but don't have limiting beliefs. Just a reminder there. So nothing really holds you back more than a limiting belief, saying something like, I can only get this good, or I could never get that good. It's limited. You're creating a ceiling for yourself. And you will never break through that ceiling until you finally tell yourself, you know what, I have unlimited potential. Then you smash through that ceiling when you truly believe that. Next. Here it is. Okay, so here is the real secret success tool that so many really successful people have taught, and they teach these openly too. It's use incantations to program your subconscious to believe certain things. Now, incantations, I don't mean that in like a, what is it, witches do that or whatever. That's not what I mean. I mean just using repeated language to basically mold your subconscious. So 30 to 100 times a day. So I'm gonna teach you how to do this. It's very simple. You're going to pick a phrase of what you want to become or something you want to happen that maybe you don't have yet. So for example, let's say I want to be a professional soccer player. I do. Maybe you do as well. I would say every single day, 30 to 100 times, something like, I love the fact that I'm a high-level professional soccer player that plays for so-and-so team. You can pick a team, okay? So now here's the thing with these. You want to make them Don't make them insane. Make it so your brain can think, okay, yes, that is something that I can do. Again, don't make it limiting. This is kind of, you got to fine tune this a little. So I'm not going to say something like, I love the fact that I'm the best player in the world. Now, if I repeated that to myself every single day, it would probably have great positive effects on my game. It would. It would. But I like the idea of saying something like, I love the fact that I am a high-level professional soccer player that plays in the MLS, for example. I like saying something like that. And, you know, if I was to accomplish that, I could always move on to a new thing and go, I love the fact that I'm a high-level professional soccer player that plays in the Premier League. Then I can go, I love the fact that I'm a high-level professional soccer player that plays for Liverpool. And you can keep going. So this is what you want. I want you to pick one thing, a huge goal, a big goal of yours that you want to accomplish. You don't have to use my example. You can, but remember, my example isn't necessarily right or wrong. It's just my example. Okay? It's literally just an example I thought of. So we need to make this relevant to your life. So I want you to pick a phrase, and you can put it down in the comments, actually, what you're going to be saying. But put a phrase. Remember, don't limit yourself. And I want you to say, I love the fact that, and then put what you want to be. Where do you want to go? Okay? So, for example, I said, I love the fact that I'm a high-level professional soccer player that plays in the MLS. Okay? So say some of that. Yours could be, I love the fact that I play for, and then maybe there's a team you've always wanted to play for in your local area, like a club team that plays at states or something. Or maybe there's a college you want to play for. So you could go, I love the fact that I play for blah, blah, blah university, and that I start. You see where I'm getting with this? Now, what you're going to do is you're going to literally repeat this phrase to yourself every single day. Now, a good tip I got from one of the people I follow is to just do this in the shower. Because when you're in the shower, you're usually just kind of, you're kind of just overthinking things. You're just thinking about your day or whatever. So instead of that, just out loud, say to yourself, I love the fact that I am a high-level professional soccer player that plays in the MLS. I love the fact that I'm a high-level professional soccer player that plays in the MLS. And just keep doing it. Again, that's my example. Don't have to use that. Just make your own. Okay? So, and repeat it. And it's got to be, I love the fact, or I am so grateful, or something like this. You need to associate it with yourself. Okay? You need to make it so it's real. You say it. This is very important. You're going to say and feel this like you already have it. Like it's already reality. Okay? And again, this may sound weird to you guys, but hey, I'm telling you, this is something that almost so many successful people do. Okay? So many successful players do too. This is something that you may have doubts about. Just do it every day. It takes like 5 minutes, guys. It really takes 5 minutes. And even if this is something you think won't work, are you willing to try it for 5 minutes every day just in case it does? I hope you are. Okay, so pick your phrase. And guys, again, I want to emphasize this can change everything. This one practice. And again, I said about a lot of practices in this, and if you guys do everything that we've gone over in this video, I think I'll have it in 2 parts. So if you do everything in both part 1 and 2, you're going to change everything. Absolutely everything. But this one especially is going to help you. And what I love about it is it's so easy. It takes 5 minutes. It takes 1 shower of saying your thing over and over again. Okay? Now, remember, your words are truly powerful. What you tell yourself, what you say, and I'm not just talking about the words you say out loud. They're powerful too. When you say something out loud, you focus more on it. There's a lot because I forget exactly why this is, but I think things are a lot more powerful when you say them out loud. But the things you say inside your head are just, they're almost as equally powerful. And probably more so because you're always saying more in your head usually than you are out loud for most people. So this is not just something you need to adjust with how you outwardly talk. Your internal dialogue needs to be incredibly positive as well. You need to start believing these things. You need to start believing that you can accomplish these things, because if you just say it out loud, but then actually don't believe it internally, you're not going to achieve them. Okay, so your words are powerful. And again, make them serve you. Make them assist you. Use them to your advantage. Okay, now here's another really big one, and is part of this secret success tool, is use visualization to also influence your subconscious. Okay? So while you're doing your incantations of 30 to 100 times a day, visualize what you're saying. Picture it as if you already have it. Vividly in your head, imagine what it would be like if you had it. But come from it from the perspective of you already do have it. So really think in your mind. So let's say, for example, you're saying, I love the fact that I am a high-level professional soccer player that plays in the MLS. Visualize yourself at the club you're playing for. Visualize yourself in a match as if you are currently doing that while you're saying these things. And this is going to make it even more powerful because not only are you saying it out loud as if it's true, you're now seeing it in your mind as if it is true. And here's a very fun fact about your brain. Your brain cannot tell the difference between reality and a very vivid visualization. It can't. You ever have a dream and wake up and not realize you were dreaming and actually thought what you were dreaming was real? This is the same thing. The reason you thought what you were dreaming was real was because it was so vivid. It felt so real. Your senses were included. You could smell the things in the dream. You know, all of your senses were engaged. You could almost feel the things that were in your dream. So it felt so real. But when you woke up, you realized that wasn't reality. Right? That's a whole different topic. We're not going to get into that kind of philosophical debate of whether it is or isn't. But for the sake of this argument, it wasn't reality, was it? This is the same thing when you learn to visualize vividly. So if you can learn to visualize vividly, it's a bit of a tongue twister, you can literally trick your brain into thinking that your visualization is reality. That you really are a high-level professional soccer player. And when you do that, and your brain thinks that, you're going to start thinking more like one. You're going to start seeing success more often. You're going to start aligning with things that are going to help you make that visualization a reality. And guys, this won't happen overnight. You have to do this very consistently, okay? Very often. You know, even I haven't gotten the hang of this. I slack with this sometimes. Some days I'm like, why am I not doing my visualizations? Why am I not doing them? It's something I'm working on. But this is such a huge thing. You know, take advantage of the fact that your brain can't tell the difference between a vivid visualization and reality. That's an amazing thing to know. It's an amazing thing to know, okay? And again, if you do this consistently, it will move you so much closer to your goals. I mean, unbelievably closer to your goals. You could accomplish in a year in more than you've accomplished in your entire life if you implement this consistently. Remember, guys, don't come to me and say, well, it's not working, because my immediate response to you will be, my immediate question to you will be, 1, how long have you been doing it? And 2, during that period, have you been doing it every day? And if your answer to that second question is no, I have not been doing it every day, I will tell you, well, that's why. And if your answer to the first question is, oh, less than a week, that's why. It takes time, it takes consistency. But guys, 4 months from now, where would you rather be? Would you rather be someone who just said, screw it, I'm not going to do this, and you're exactly in the same place? Or would you rather be someone who decided to put in the work and the consistency and have accomplished many of their goals? So you got to think ahead, guys. You know, 4 months from now, where do you want to be? 6 months from now, where do you want to be? A year from now, where do you want to be? Because here's the thing. Whether you like it or not, 4 months are going to go by. 6 months are also going to go by. And a year is going to go by, whether you like it or not. So the question is, who do you want to be when those 4 months are up? Or 6 months, or a year? Who do you want to be? Well, you can start creating that person that you want to be now by doing this stuff. All right, so just a few extra things at the end here. And I know this is getting a little motivational and a little kind of off topic, but guys, you have one life as far as we know. Make the most of it. Don't wait to do this kind of thing. You know, some of you might, you know, I mean, I'm assuming if you've made it this far into the video that you're serious about this. And I'm assuming everyone who is not serious about this kind of closed out of this video a long time ago. And it's a sad fact that people do that. They'll get like 10 minutes into a video and be like, good, I got enough. And I'll do some of the stuff. And they don't take it seriously. You know, some people don't want to take the time to like take 30 minutes to do a reflection every Sunday, even though I'm telling them it can radically change their life. And many people who are massively successful say this as well. Yet people don't want to do it. But you have one life, and you get to decide how it goes. And again, your success is in your hands, no one else's. So don't make excuses. You know, the information is out there. We live in a day and age which is the biggest information age of all time. I mean, it does present certain problems, but for as long as you can filter through that information to good information, you have so much access to so many things that can help your life. Not just this video. There are millions of videos out there that can. But the thing is, don't be someone who doesn't utilize this information, right? You know, if you took a year, and guys, think a year is not that long. A year, I mean, last year went by so quickly. I can't believe it's almost 2017. That went 2000. I remember where I was New Year's Day, in 2016. You know, I remember where I was, and it's crazy to think it's been a year since then. So, you know, don't waste it. You want to become a great soccer player? You want to do something in your life? Do it this year, now, right now. It doesn't have to be a New Year's resolution. The only reason I'm doing this is because, you know, most people set goals at the beginning of the year. But you don't need to be, you know, you could be watching this video, it could be June or July right now. I'm not telling you to wait to the beginning of next year. Start now, okay? It's in your hands. Next, use these proven methods to create results for yourself. Now, you may, I don't know, maybe I'm not enough of an authority to convince you enough that these work. But I can tell you that these aren't things that I've personally developed. There might be things I've put my own spin on, sure, but a lot of these strategies I have learned from incredibly successful people, millionaires, some billionaires, people who are living their passions and living lives that they love. Isn't that something you want? You know, these are methods that create professional athletes, that create millionaires, that create people who are successful and living lives that they want. So, you know, it's up to you if you want to follow. You know, they've worked for many people. And don't do what most people do. For those of you who are going to be watching this at the beginning of the year, don't do what most people do and quit after like half a month. You know, again, the famous thing is like most people get a gym membership on the first month and then they only stay in for 2 weeks. Don't do that. You know, stick with it, be consistent, and you'll see results almost like magic. When you're going from someone who isn't really seeing results to someone who's seeing massive results, it's almost like, wow. It's almost like, wow, everything's conspiring to allow me to succeed. You know, it seems like magic. It's not, but it does. Okay? And remember, consistency equals progress. The more consistent you are, the more progress you'll make, the more momentum you'll build. And progress equals happiness. You know, there's been studied on this, guys. If you love soccer as much as I do, you will find happiness in improvement. You know, have you ever learned a move you've been working on very hard, and what was that feeling when you finally learned that move or pulled it off in a match? You probably felt on top of the world. The problem is a lot of people then stop. No, you got to keep going. Keep the consistency going. Keep the progress going. Keep the happiness going. Okay? Keep making improvements. That's why we have progressive goal planning, guys. It's not, you know, singular goal planning where we just have one goal and that's it and we stop. No, we have progressive goal planning. We keep reevaluating, we keep reflecting, and we keep making more. Okay? And very important, guys, if you've made it this far, I'm assuming you like or love my content, turn on notifications, because this year I'm going to be doing a lot of stuff that are going to help you achieve your goals. That is one of my main aims. I'm trying to do a video a day for the most part. A video every single day is a lot of work, but I love doing it. And I'm loving some of the feedback from some of these videos. So how you turn on notifications is you simply click on the bell icon that you see on my channel. Now, if you're on mobile, you can also see it. It should just be like in the right-hand side somewhere. And just turn on notifications. And all this is going to do is allow you to be notified when I release a video. And the only reason I want you to do this is because YouTube's going through some weird phase where a lot of people's videos are not showing up in subscription feeds. So if you, for example, have come to the channel after a few days and noticed, wait a second, why wasn't I notified about these videos? That's why. But if you turn on that bell, you will not miss one. Okay? So make sure you turn that on. All right, guys? So, yeah, thank you very much for coming through this whole video. I'm looking at my timer and noticing that we've gone on for quite a bit of time. This will definitely be in 2 parts. Wow, that is a long time we've been going on. Well, if you've made it all the way to the end, give yourself a pat on the back. Make sure you utilize this information now. Now it's about making sure you implement this stuff. I know it's a lot to throw at you, So, really kind of sift through it and start creating the stuff that we're going over. But good job on sticking with this, guys. I know that it's going to be very few players that have actually made it to this end, and I want to congratulate you for that. But remember, the work's not done yet. Now we need to actually implement this information. All right, guys. So for those of you who did make it, leave a thumbs up and share this video, and also subscribe if you're new to Simply Soccer. I mean, if you're new and you've made it to the end, you'll definitely want to subscribe. We have incredible content like this that's I want to create that will help you change your game. It will help you improve, will help you become that player you want to become. That's my goal for you, and I hope that's a goal you have for yourself. All right, guys, I'm also going to put 2 videos on the screen that are going to help you further. I'll put part 1 on the screen as well if for some reason you've watched part 2 before part 1. If you did, some of this may have not made sense, so you might want to go back and watch that. All right, guys, thank you so much again for watching. Have a fantastic new year. We're going to have a lot of new stuff this new year, and I'm really excited to share it with you. Thanks once again, guys. Thank you for sticking with me with this video, and I'll see you on the video tomorrow.